The problem I had with the Street Profits, and I still kind of think of them like this to this day, they were overexposed for 224 days, and it's not their fault. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Ramblin' Bout Wrestling podcast. I am your host, Nick Pearl, and today we're going to be talking tag teams, but not just any tag team. We're going to be talking a team that has been very undervalued and underappreciated as of late, where we thought they were going to get a major run in a brand new faction, but then the faction kind of fell apart. And now there's teases that this team will be leaving the company. People, I'm talking about the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They are an incredible tag team, and now they have their manager in B-Fab, kind of left over from when they were in the Pride with Bobby Lashley. That group, they tried to be heels, didn't really work because all those guys are just way too popular to be booed. I was never going to boo Bobby Lashley. I was never going to boo the Street Profits, unless you gave me a reason to. They had their newfound swag, they had a new theme song, but they didn't win. They were in this feud with the Final Testament, which culminated at WrestleMania 40. It was a fun match with Snoop Dogg on commentary, which was probably the best part. But since Bobby Lashley left and he is now in AEW with the Hurt Syndicate, Street Profits, they just been kind of floating there, not really doing much. They come out, have a match, get a big pop, and that's it. And both guys could be singles stars, especially Montez Ford. Don't look the other way on Angelo Dawkins, though, because he can hold his own. But Montez Ford, he's gotten a chance to prove himself in the Elimination Chamber a couple years ago for the United States Championship. He didn't win it, but he looked fantastic. So they're just sitting on these guys. Their first taste of gold happened in NXT a little before they got called up. October 22nd, 2015, they won a ladder match. I don't remember their reign at all. They only got the belts. This is usually what happens in NXT. If somebody's set for a call-up, they give them the belts, then they call them up to say, oh, they're a former champion. They think it's going to help boost their how they're viewed in the audience. So if you look at their title history, when they won these tag team championships down in NXT, July 10th, they retained the belts against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Very underrated tag team, by the way. And both of those guys, it's a shame they're not wrestling as much. August 15th, a little over 2 months from winning the belts, they dropped them to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. While they were the champs, by the way, they were making appearances on Monday Night Raw. So it was only a matter of time for them to drop these belts. After being in NXT for 3 years, they get called up in the 2019 WWE Draft, brought over to Monday Night Raw. And in their debut match, they defeated the team of the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. A lot of these guys from NXT back in the day, they would get hot-shotted right up the card. You had guys like Kevin Owens, for example, Samoa Joe. Now, you have the Street Profits. Vince McMahon brings them up, says, we need a new tag team in the spotlight. These guys are perfect for it. So what do? They get pushed into the title scene immediately. They lose championship match after championship match after championship match. And eventually, a couple of months later, after being called up, they have a last chance rematch, where if they do not win these belts, they can no longer challenge for them. They just got called up, and you're going to put them in this position. It doesn't really matter, the stipulation. They finally won these belts. So it's their first Raw Tag Team Championship reign, and their only Raw Tag Team Championship reign. The problem I had with the Street Profits, and I still kind of think of them like this to this day, this reign went on way too long. The thing is, it really wasn't that bad. It's just they were overexposed during this time. I love the Street Profits, don't get me wrong, but when you have the Raw Tag Team Championships on your shoulder for 224 days, where I could not tell you one single title defense that they had in that time, there's a problem, and it's not their fault. Now, it gets even worse. Then they get drafted to SmackDown in 2020. So what do? The New Day were the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, so let's do a title swap. Why are we doing a title swap? So dumb, so stupid. So now they're the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Going from the Raw to the SmackDown title reign, they held the SmackDown belts for 88 days, where they lost them to Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Ever since then, They have never touched tag team gold. They've tried and tried again. They have never gotten back up to that point. It just feels like they're constantly going for the belts. And I said they had this long reign. I don't want to see them have the belts again. That was years ago. I still have that same viewpoint on them. They just need to change and get interesting, which is where we're at now. They have B-Fab. Montez Ford, he seems to be a little bit annoyed with the WWE and the booking of their tag team. So let's just say this. They signed multi-year deals in 2019. We don't know how long these deals last, but most of the deals signed in 2019 were 5-year deals, which means 2024. Their contracts are going to be coming up very, very soon if they did indeed sign for those 5 years. Montez Ford recently did an interview, and on the interview, he was voicing his disappointment over how they were being booked. Like I said, they go for the belts, they lose. They go for the belts, they lose. They're heels, they're not. They're heels, they're not. They're being pushed, they're not on TV. Stop and go. It's like a stop sign. You stop at it, then you go a little bit, and then you creep up to the sign, and guess what? You stop again. That's the Street Profits. Both of them are not happy. It's not just Montez. And now, coming up on SmackDown, they're going to be going for the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns. If they lose that match, it's either something's got to change, or it's sayonara, which is not what I want to see. I don't want to see the Street Profits leave. They are so freaking popular. They just can't be booked right. How do you not book these guys like stars? You have 2 sets of tag team championships. You have 3 in NXT. They haven't been champions for years. You can't just give them one little reign for a week or 2? No, can't do that, because we have way too many other tag teams. We have the Motor City Machine Guns, who should not be losing the belts right now. They hot-shotted them right to the top. You can't have them lose, so Street Profits are probably not winning the belts unless they turn heel. But what's the point then? Because they're baby faces, the crowd wants to see them succeed, even if they cheat a little bit. Nobody's gonna boo them. So you get booked into a little bit of a corner. If the Street Profits lose, they're most likely out of the company. If they show a newfound attitude in this matchup, then maybe there's a little bit of hope. The Pride had promise. Once Bobby Lashley left, Bobby Lashley was off TV even in the group, nothing has happened for them. At least now the tag team division is being rebuilt, but I'm afraid that the Street Profits are going to get left behind. We could either 1, stay and face them all, or 2, go out, rebuild our careers from the ground up, and come back as the biggest tag team in all of wrestling. Bobby Lashley had to leave and come back. Drew McIntyre had to leave and come back. You don't see many tag teams leaving to come back. If anybody's going to go out there and raise their stock as a tag team, it's going to be these guys. I'm just going to say it. The Street Profits would be great with the Hurt Syndicate, especially because they were just with Bobby Lashley. I just don't think that's something they need right now. They need to be on their own. They're so good, yet their careers, nothing's happened since their first half of the main roster run. I just want all the best for them. I really do. Leaving WWE might be what they need. They're frustrated. It could also be a good character arc for them too, the frustration. But it may not even go anywhere. So who knows? The Street Profits have a very big decision to make. So with all that being said, let's hope the best for the Street Profits, regardless of what happens on Friday Night SmackDown. I've been your host, Nick Pearl, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Let's keep rambling, everybody.